Hi there, this is John Anthony Francis Wilcox, and today is Saturday, the 31st of May, 2025. Hope you're doing well. So let's see. First off, today is my dear friend Grace Mary's birthday, so I wish her a happy birthday. Also, it's a poet, Donald Cohen's birthday, and I mention that because a very interesting and nice thing happened. So every Monday, I put up a poetry reading, read a different poem every week. And as I've mentioned before, a few weeks back, my great niece Isabella gave me some poetry books that she got at a book sale, which was very nice of her. And I've really enjoyed the journey of reading this stuff. And I was reading one of the books was by this poet, Donald Cohen, and I read one of the poems uh, this past week called "Yes, But," which I found a very interesting and amusing and enjoyable poem, and I've been getting a good reaction to that, so that's great. But I found out that he lived here in Connecticut, and so I looked him up and I found where he was, and I found an email for him. So I sent him an email with the link to me reading the poem, just thinking, well, maybe he'll enjoy that. And you know what? I heard back from him. He really enjoyed it, and he wanted to talk, so he asked for my phone number, and he gave me a call yesterday, and we had a lovely conversation. So I'm glad that I'm doing something that is reaching people, and that the poet himself enjoyed what I did. That's a great feeling. So that was yesterday that he called, and Monday when I read the poem. So what else has been going on here? It's a week of waiting still. It's been 20 21 days with no washing machine, and over 2 months with no central air, and a lot of promises. I'm told now for the third Tuesday that we'll be having a washing machine on Tuesday. I know the first time was a Thursday, and now it'll be the second Tuesday. So hopefully it is. And hot weather's going to be coming in, so I'm hoping they get the central air going as soon as possible. I don't know, it's very frustrating, but I'm trying to not get stressed over it. So, so I've already gotten birthday gifts from 4 people, and my birthday's not till Friday, but my nephews Dave and Michael, my dear friend Laura, and my dear friend Catherine. Um, Michael got me a watch that was on my wish list and a lovely Blu-ray. Dave gave me a nice gift card for Amazon, which I used to get a couple of Blu-rays that I was looking for, and some USBs that I needed very much. And Laura gave me a gift card as well, where I used most of it, but not all of it. I needed some more blank cassettes for when I do interviews, and I was as of today, I was out of packets of monk fruit that I used to sweeten my tea or coffee or such. And then other snacks. In fact, I even bought Michael some snacks because he's here in the house, so why not? And Catherine sent me very interesting 2 books, one that she edited, one that she wrote or co-wrote, and 2 cans of really high quality Italian tuna that I'm looking forward to. That'll be cool. I'll make a can and make some nice tuna melts for me because I love that. Thank you to all, and to anyone else that finds it worth doing something for me on my birthday, which, as I said, is Friday the 6th. I'll be 65. So An interesting thing, Michael has been watching on and off a guy that people make a fuss about, and I don't understand it. A guy named Rick Beato, and I mean I understand, it's fine. And it was him. He was looking in particular of him saying how all current music sucks and nothing's good anymore. And Michael and I vehemently disagree because we both find tons and tons of great music. Yes, it's not, you know, the stuff that's on what Spotify charts, top tens, or whoever has charts anymore, top tens, because a lot of that is like auto tuned to death, and it'll be like a song is sung by one person that has like 20 writers on it, 15 writers on it, and it's just whatever that is. But I'm telling you, I'm finding great jazz bands out there, pop bands from all over the world. And then, established bands like someone, it's just, I guess, no interest to someone like this Rick Beato guy, like the Flower Kings, or I think back, as he covers a lot of like 70s bands and stuff like that, 60s, and I'm thinking, I asked Michael to look through, he doesn't ever talk about Caravan or Camel or Gentle Giant, you know, uh, pick a band, Fairport Convention. Good luck, I mean, and that's of many, he doesn't talk about Jethro Tull or the Tubes or Barclay James Harvest, or there's just a multitude of bands that I don't know if people don't like them or they just don't know about them, or perhaps they've just found enough that satisfies them. But maybe, I don't know, I've always had the itch going back to when I was a kid. I would go, and one of the big things for me was I would get this on newsprint, this catalog from San Luis Obispo, from a place called the Square Deal Record Company, and a version of them still exists, but it's not the same. So I would get this thing, and I would also get from Sally, who was the lady at the record department in Klein's here in Westport. She would get me a copy of the Gem Import Catalog, which was like a candy store, because it would also say, if you like these bands, you'll like this, try this, or look at that. And so I would connect that, where you would pay, the full price of an import, versus Square Deal, where sometimes I could try a band for 99 cents for an LP, for 75 cents. They had stuff that was ridiculously low priced, and they had lots of import stuff. And also, at the time, the store was, I believe it was still Barker's and hadn't yet become King's or whatever. I forget its later iterations. But they would occasionally just have cut out vinyl blowouts, and I tried so many things. I think that's where I first heard Roy Harper, um, and things like that. I remember picking up a Caravan 8-track of their Cutting Stunts album for like under $1. Great, and so I was always searching for more. I've never stopped that. You can't have too much good music. So I don't know. You tell me. I know some of the people on my list are similar searchers, but I know some aren't. And I'd love to know the reason why on both ends. I'd love to hear back from people on this. Don't fear writing me an email. You know what I'm saying? Or the people I know, phone number's still the same. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but I love knowing why you listen to what you listen to, and why you don't listen to. I'll give you an example, and I'm not saying anything to piss anyone off, okay? But like, I'll give you a few examples of music that's not for me. REM. Don't have it in me. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Nothing against them, just not my thing. I have an active dislike of Billy Joel music. Not a big Springsteen fan. Not a big John Cougar Mellencamp fan, or um, any rap at all. It doesn't connect with me. It doesn't strike a chord. Hip rap, hip hop, whatever you want to call it. Um, and the list goes. I was never a fan of like Madonna. No, thank you. It's not that stuff isn't for me. Now, let me amend one thing about that though, in terms of genre. Okay, so I don't like hip hop. I don't like that Madonna kind of, let's get in the groove kind of stuff or whatever. There's dancey music I love. I love Sneaky Sound System. They're still out there, thankfully, and they're starting to work on some new material. I've been listening to them since I think 2007, 2008, out of Australia. I have nothing against a good beat or a good piece of music. I don't care who makes it. If someone that I don't like if they discover a Tom Petty song where I would go, yeah, that's fantastic, I'm open to it. I wouldn't do that from anyone. Um, the people on the I've never been a Rolling Stones person. I'm the Beatles side of that, and I love the Kinks and lots of other stuff, and the list could go on, and this could be a 5-hour video easily. I could name band after band and get into what I like about what they do, and there's no end in sight on that. But it's interesting to hear someone who has, this guy has, I think he's heading towards 5 million subscribers, which is not insignificant. I reach, I think I have like 100 and something subscribers, if that. So, he's connecting with people on a way that they're looking to be connected too. But I think it's an illusion to go, there's no good music nowadays. There's tons of good music. Um, what I would suggest, and it's very interesting, my nephew and I will do this, go to bandcamp.com and you can search and put in a genre of music that you like and see what they suggest to you. And some of it'll be garbage, and some of it will be wonderful. I have found bands I never heard of, we both have, that were great. There's lots of great music being out there, and it should be supported too. You know, and discovery is great, and just think of it as a new delightful thing for your ears and your mind and your heart. Who have I forgotten? Have I forgotten something? Um, the suffering continues. There's insane stuff going on in the world, and you know all about it, I'm sure, for the most part. The When our colleges are being sued so that the government can control what they teach and who they teach, that's a dangerous time. That to me is huge. The cruelty. What was it yesterday? That there was a town hall with a woman. I can't think of her name, but she was the Republican senator from Iowa, I believe it was. And someone said that these cuts, that people are going to die from these cuts to Medicaid and Medicare. And she said, well, we're all going to die, which was so unsympathetic and heartless, and it's going to trail her for the rest of her professional life, as it should. Because, as a lot of you know, I'm, Catholic boy, and Jesus, people that claim to be Christian should know this and should live by it. Jesus, I can pull you out things like parts of Matthew 25 or what have you, where he talks about the poor and the elderly and the children, that we help those people. He says, whatever you do for the least of your brethren, you do for me. And he says, whatever you don't do for the least of your brethren, you don't do for me. And that if you don't believe those things, you cannot call yourself a Christian. You're lying. So, sorry. I didn't want to bring religion in because I know there are some people that watch my stuff that don't want to hear about religion or aren't religious, and I respect that. But also, if I bring it up occasionally, you know what? Respect the fact that I'm here just being me. Feel free to, if it bothers you, let me know. And I'm sorry. I'm not trying to rile up anyone. So I would just like right now, if someone walked to my door and gave me a big Italian sub, oh, what a lovely world it would be. Anyway, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.